Hey everybody, this is the Haunt Addiction with Dr. Chris Steffens and my special guest, Josh Overturf. Don't worry, he can hear us, but he can't talk. And if you don't want to hear him, he's got like this really high-pitched helium munchkin voice. Just kidding, folks. Josh is with the Haunted Hornet in Alameda, California. It's a great haunt. Jim.
Yes. Good evening.
Yeah, Jim cut out on us.
No, he said good evening.
Oh, boo. Good
Jim is
evening.
our psycho RN of the show. And then tonight's show is all on fog. Thank you, Tater, for joining us tonight and bringing out some of the misconceptions or information on Froggys Fog. Why do I keep wanting to call it Foggy?
If you pronounce the company's name right, jeez.
Froggys Fog.
Froggy.
That's right.
Froggy.
How are you doing tonight, Tater?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
Totally
He's
awesome.
been hitting the bottle a little too hard tonight, people.
I haven't even started. Oh, look at, he's already got some hot air going up out his ass.
Just vanish in a puff of smoke, and you guys won't even know what the hell to do.
Taylor, are you aware that you're smoking? Are
I'm-
you on fire?
I gotta watch because I am outside,
Yeah.
and
Taylor's on fire.
it does look like my house is on fire from the road. So
So if we see firefighters show up, just sit back and enjoy the show, folks, because it will be great.
see any flashing lights coming up and down this side here.
Somebody call 911 around Tater's area and tell him his house is on fire just so we can see firemen.
Would be good. Because it'd be two departments racing to get to my house.
Oh, come on, it'll be fun. So, you know, right off the bat, Tater, I'm going to ask you, how did you really get started with Froggys? Because you've been with them for how long?
4 years.
Wow. And how did you get started with it?
You know, I was out of a job at Transworld, and I just left a prop making company, and kind of went to Transworld on my own. I'm getting attacked by bugs and all sorts of things over here. Sorry. So I was at Transworld. I was in the bar area. The owner of Froggys said you should come work for me. I told him that I probably couldn't because I had to no compete with the prop making company, and he said that props and fog have nothing to do with each other, so you should come work for me. Call me and call him on Wednesday. So I did, and here I am, 4 years later, Lord of the Fog.
How did Froggys get their start?
They got started. The two owners, Chris and Adam. Chris's parents had a roller skating rink, and they got all these brand new hazers and foggers and lights, and they fired up all the foggers, and it triggered Chris to have an asthma attack. So Chris said, well, why isn't there any fog that doesn't cause my asthma to flare up? So him and his father, who happened to be a chemist, went in the back room and started formulating Froggys, the original Froggys use.
And it's always been known as Froggys Fog, correct?
Correct. Yep. Always Froggys Fog.
Now, you know, I know that you get a lot of really interesting questions, I guess we should say. But and before we really go into more of the use of the machines and the fog, you also have some other things that you do that maybe some people don't necessarily know, like the fact that you actually work with some haunts. And tell us a little bit about that. And then in addition to that, tell us, I mean, we all know some of your characters like Granny, which we absolutely love Granny. And then there's Dwayne, which, well, Dwayne's in his own category. But you also teach some classes on character development. Tell us about a little bit about that and the haunts that you kind of got your, I believe, your start in, correct?
Yeah, so I'm 35 now.
And single.
That's true. Um, when I was a little kid, about 8 years old, my dad worked for a thanks. Josh is calling me an old man.
He's
Worked
just
for a,
starting.
was a member of the Lions Club, and the Lions Club that year decided to have what they call a haunted forest, and that haunted forest was taking anybody they could get their hands on because their members at this particular Lions Club were all very much older gentlemen. So Dad volunteered and said, I'll bring my kids out, and brought me out, put me on the path near him. And all we did all night was just lay there, and when a group walked over us or near us, we sprung up and scared them. Fast forward to, I worked my way up to be a back guide, which I had a very important job then, was to make sure everybody got out of the scene that they were in safely. So literally all I had to do was say, all clear, and then we'd move on to the next scene. And all clear, and then move on to the next scene. After I hit a certain age, then I got to be a front guide, which may be, and this is, look, if you're going to be in charge of a group of people, about 25 people, which some of them may have been drinking or may not have been drinking, you want to make sure that you know the path that you're on, in and out. When I first started, was not that great at navigating my way through the darkness, and maybe have taken a group or two on
the wrong way
before we found our way. Because I was, so good at doing that job, they said, well, why don't you be in charge of your own scene? And I said, all right, great. They gave me the building, which essentially is just just the walls and the power to the building. And that's pretty much all they gave you. You had to come up with your own scene design, your own actors, your own sound. If you wanted fog, then you could do that. But this is all coming out of your own pretty much budget, because it was a charity haunt and it had a very small budget. So I did a clown scene at that for years. It was interesting. It was fun. We knew at the beginning of the seasons that the scene in front of us would probably have a chainsaw and the scene behind us would probably have a chainsaw. So you need to have that. You need to have something else there to kind of cleanse the palate. So we did a scary clown scene, and knowing 1 out of 4 people do not like clowns at all. And 3 out of 4 do not trust clowns when clowns get near them.
Why are clowns so freaky to people?
Well, I wouldn't be the one to know that. You can ask Jim and his rape wallpaper that he has in his background. But there's just something, I think it's with the makeup and everything, that the clowns don't, people don't like around them. So we could work clowns into your ship, Josh.
I'm sure we can.
So we also knew that we had to diffuse the people from getting riled up from one scene to the next, so we did it with humor. Fast forward, I joined an acting troupe. First year of MHC, a member of our acting troupe got Miss Scariest Female Character in the Midwest. Second year, everybody was sitting around and nobody wanted to enter, and I said, you ladies are scary enough without makeup on, which instantly volunteered me to come up with a female character. Why I chose an old lady, I don't know. I went to my grandma's house. I got her a dress. I got, borrowed a purse of hers, and just kind of wung it from there. When Granny became, she never won anything in the pageants. She always got like runner-up or, third place or whatever. That's fine because Granny's not necessarily a scary character.
She's just a fun character.
Right. Haunted houses said, you should come work for me. And I said, well, if you pay my travel, then you can have me. And that's how it all started.
So how many haunts do you attempt to work with, or is there one specific that you work with?
No, I travel to different haunts every weekend in October. So a different haunt every week in October.
Wow.
So I wouldn't even begin to know. Could not even begin to calculate that number.
Can you give us an estimate of Josh is asking of how many haunts you've worked with, approximately even?
Probably over 100.
That's amazing.
You're a busy guy.
I'm very busy. But you know, it's nice because you get to go to the haunt, you get to see everything, you get to work, you go home. You get to do it all again in a new place next year. It sucks because you don't make any really lasting friendships or anything while you're there. So, but the good part of that is you don't get sucked into any of the haunt drama that's going on either.
Correct.
So,
but you do go to conventions, and as well as Froggys Fog, you are teaching some things like character development, correct?
Correct. I'm actually getting ready to go to a convention down in Dallas to have I'm doing a character development class.
And that's definitely another show that we're going to bring you on for.
Yeah, let's keep this one about Froggies.
Exactly.
Since I have that giant banner that you can totally see in the background.
The giant black banner at midnight.
Yes. It says Froggys Fog right above my head right there. I don't know if you guys, I don't know what's wrong with your computer, but I can totally. Right there. See, Josh sees it. James, you see it?
No, I do not.
Well, Jim and I apparently haven't drank enough to see it. So Tater, let's go ahead and go into let's dive into some more of Froggys Fog. Let's start with the Froggys Fog has so many different machines, and the fact that they're not only catering to like the home haunter, yard displayer, but you guys are also dealing with like the huge theatrical pieces and like maybe even shows, like something that might be put on at Las Vegas to movie type things, correct?
Correct. Yeah, we do anywhere from a home haunt for a little 400-watt machine all the way up to what we call the Tower of Power. We advertise it or gear it towards fire departments, and it does 500,000 cubic feet of fog a minute.
Wow. Well, and that leads us right into the fact that Froggys Fog has so many different machines besides the Chevet that some people might see over here. But you also have, like, isn't it called the American DJ? So, and how let's talk about budget being an issue. How would a home haunter figure out what is the correct machine they need versus, for the wattage and maybe the square footage that they're trying to cover?
Yeah, okay, so everybody thinks it's all about wattage. So maybe a 1,300-watt machine, they attribute that to maybe doing more output than a 1,000-watt machine. This is a 1,400-watt machine, or 1,300-watt machine that I have sitting next to me.
That's what I have in the background right here. This is the Chevet 1,300.
You have the Chevet 1,300, yes.
Hurricane.
So this machine is 1,300 watts. It does 25,000 cubic feet a minute. Okay, and that's what you're looking for. You're looking for your CFM. It doesn't necessarily mean, that her machine that she has in her background and the machine that I have next to me is definitely the same wattage, but there's about 5,000 more cubic feet a minute on this machine here.
And how do they figure that out? I mean, I think that's a big thing for home haunters and stuff. They have a certain square footage of area. and like you're talking the cubic square footage, how would they figure out really what that is?
Well, and that's why I've started recommending machines that have an adjustable output. So if I hit this green button here now, it's going to do 25,000 cubic feet a minute into nothing. So you can kind of see the giant amount of output coming out of that machine. But I can always turn it down if I need to and just do a little bit of fogging. And that's kind of what you want to do is if you want to have a giant fogged up smoky room, and just in case if you guys didn't hear, I am outside in my garage, so it's going right outside my house and whipping right out the garage and around the corner. If you want to have a giant smoky fog-filled room, this machine's capable of doing it, but it's also capable of doing a very small room, at 5,000 cubic feet of, a little bit. I don't know if you can see. Bear with me here.
So then basically they need to figure out what their cubic feet are to be able to decide really what is the best machine to work in that area, correct?
Correct. Well, I mean, it's not necessarily that. And because we have different, there goes my camera. We have different machines and different fluids, and mainly it's all about the fluid as
and we're
well.
Going to get into that.
We're going to get into fluids a little bit later. I always say get a machine with adjustable output. You can always get another machine if you need more fog, but you can always dial down the machine if you need to.
Which is what Josh was just saying.
Yes, I just saw Josh pop up there, and then you can dial it down.
So what Josh is asking is to, basically what you're saying is maybe to get a bigger machine than what you think you need, because then you can dial it down.
Correct. So yeah, and this machine that I have next to me is 199. It heats up in 4 minutes, which is a remarkable. If you're like every other haunt owner, you're gonna forget to plug in or turn on your fog machines, and you're gonna have to wait for that 7-minute heat up time. This one heats up in 4 minutes with adjustable output. Anything below, I'm gonna get into some technicals here, so bear with me if I.
Josh says he'll take 2. Sign him right up.
If I get too technical, stop me. But you can dial it down to do a smaller area, a 6,000 cubic feet a minute. To 10,000 just on the remote here. So you can set your output and your duration. It also has onboard DMX. So if you want to do lighting and sound, if you just bought that Home Depot horse and you want the horse to have fog where you're breathing out of its nose, but you don't want it to be a giant dragon-sized puff of smoke, then you can dial it down as well. And it does have that continuous mode, and it's anything under, it says 6,000 cubic feet a minute. So what that means is, if you get this machine home, you put juice in it. If Chris would take her machine there, put juice in it, and hit that red continuous button, it's going to do a puff of smoke, stop, heat up, puff of smoke, stop, heat up, puff of smoke. This one will constantly, as long as I have that button pressed, I got to make sure I got it dialed to the right. Yeah, it'll continually puff out the smoke until that fluid is out. The other thing that it does is it might get a little smoky in here around me, but the other thing it has is a low fluid sensor. So if I run this machine out of fluid, it's going to be more annoying than my last girlfriend. It's going to flash, and it's not going to work until you put fluid in there. So the tank itself is eliminated, and it flashes when there's low fluid or no fluid in the tank, and it shuts itself off.
So what is a difference? Froggy's just had a big sale, and I'm really taken with the Chevet. But I know I know that other people really like. I think it's called American DJ, correct? Is that what the other machine is, Tater?
Okay. So if we're gonna go on a step ladder, you're gonna have at the bottom rung of that step ladder anything that you can buy at a party store. Spencer's, Halloween USA, Walmart, Target, whatever, those little FFM, those little 400-watt machines or those little 1,000-watt machines. Above that, you're going to have American DJ. Above that, you're going to have Chauvet. Above that goes Antari. And above that, there's a company that we sell exclusively in the United States called Hayes Base. And it's going to be China, a little bit of Chinese machines. Obviously, the higher rung up you get, the higher quality you get. Antari is, I think, from Taiwan, and Hayes Base is all German. So it is the very top of the line exclusive machine. I mean,
Josh was saying something about
Martin Gem. I think they're China now. They used to be Canada, but I think they sold out to China. So they're probably around the same as the Antari on the Velvet.
Okay.
Obviously, a lot of hunters use Chauvet. They're really cheap machines. They do really good output, and you know if they break down, they're pretty simple to repair.
Well, and I can speak for experience on the Chauvet because the first year we had this out at a camp hunt we did, this little 1300 ended up fogging up like a 300-plus campsite. And not that people were complaining, but they were coming over and saying, what are you using? Because you're fogging up the whole area. And where our store ones, and I'm not going to mention stores, but where our store ones that night, we had 3 other ones, and they were the store brands. They took a dive on us. This one here kept running like crazy for us.
And I always tell people, once you get a new machine, you use it. About if you're in a haunt, every 2 cases of fluid or so, run some cleaner through it, put your fluid back in it, and you're good to go. At the end of the season, think of it like your car. You're not going to buy a brand new car and leave it sit in your driveway without starting it or touching it for a year. You're going to start it up at least every 2 to 3 months. Same thing with your fog machine. This is electronic equipment. You're going
and while we're on that subject, Tater, because I know that this is a question you get a lot, why don't you go ahead right now and tell people, how do you take care of that machine? When you're talking about cleaning, how do you clean the machines?
Well, we sell a cleaner, a fog machine cleaner. It's known to kind of, if you have a machine that's really dying, it's known to bring it back from the dead. If you don't want to buy our cleaner, we understand. The internet will tell you to use some crazy concoctions and run it through. All I suggest for you to do, if you don't buy our cleaner, get some distilled water. Okay, you're going to essentially steam clean that core out of that machine. You're going to have black gunk coming out of that machine. You never, ever, 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 ever want to use vinegar. Vinegar is corrosive. Vinegar pits if it is left in machines over time. So unless you get every drop of vinegar out of that line, you're going to be corroding your machine. You're going to cause pits. You're going to cause your machine to mess up. And not to mention, this thing's 512 degrees. Vinegar coming out at 512 degrees is probably not the best thing for you, and it's definitely not the best thing for the machine. So if you're not gonna buy the cleaner, by all means, distilled water and only distilled water.
And would you suggest that for those people who may have yard haunts, home haunts, or even professional haunts, would you suggest that they put those machines through a cleaning cycle like every night, especially when they're using them multiple nights?
It's not necessary. I mean, every 2 weeks or 3 weeks. I mean, if you're just going to pull it out and just do a home haunt for 2 weeks, then at the end of your 2 weeks, just clean it out, put it on your shelf, come back 3 months later.
So the general rule here is to definitely at least clean it before you put it away.
Oh, yeah. Definitely
I'd just like to add to the viewers, if you'd like to ask questions, ask them on our Facebook page.
Yes. If you have questions, ask on our Facebook page. Jim is monitoring that. And we are getting some feedback, and I'm not sure from who.
Might be.
Other than we know it's not Joshua.
It's probably me. I'll take credit for that one.
And Corinne Jr. wants to know, Katie, what is your favorite home graveyard?
What for what scene?
A home graveyard.
All right. So what we have is we have a fluid called freezing fog, and what you would want to do is build a chiller. I do have a chiller over here, so I'm going to close the garage door real quick, so it's going to get noisy. So I'm going to mute myself. So you're going to want to do a chiller, and that's very easy to make. You can do it on the
Scott, oh, there you go. You all of a sudden just went mute, Scott, and now you're back.
And he went muted again. Oh, I see what he's doing. It's very noisy. He closed his garage door, so he muted it so we didn't have to hear it close.
How do you like that, folks? Our person of the hour just got up and walked away from us. Dang. Tater, remember to unmute yourself.
I don't know what you guys can see and what you can't see, but probably right up my nose right now. What we have here is that Hurricane 1600. I've dialed it down to about 6,000 cubic feet a minute. Inside this chiller is just standard household ice. Okay. So, excuse me on this. Chris, I can't see anything, so bear with the clutter in the garage mess. You have an input tube, and you're going to want to leave about a 3-inch space right here between the nozzle and the input tube. All right. Just fill it up with ice. This is a chiller that we sell. If you guys don't want
Tater, can you tell people why to leave a 3-inch gap between that?
You want to get air into it. So you definitely want to have some air flow into it. We're going to pump fog through. We're going to come up through the ice, get heavy, and it's going to lie low. What I'm using here is I'm using bog fog. You can definitely kind of see it creeping out. So it'll constantly, and this machine's on continuous right now. So this is the output. The chiller itself can do a little more output. If I come over here and turn it up, you're going to get a little more push behind it. But the other thing that you guys need to realize is anytime somebody walks through it, they're going to want to play it, and they're going to kick it up in the air. So then you want to have to rise. So if you're doing an indoor graveyard, then I would suggest you use what we have called cryo-freeze, which is a fast dissipating fluid. So it lies low and it looks perfect on the ground, but when it gets picked up in the air, then you have about a 30-second hang time, and then it dissipates.
Now you were using bog fog, correct?
I am using bog fog right now.
Which is this one right here, folks, bog fog.
Yes, I'm using bog fog. I did not have any freezing fog with me. Here at the house, but that's what I'm using right now. I'm gonna stop this.
Yeah, because the fire department on the way to your house right now.
I'm gonna open that garage door, and then everything's gonna get sucked that way.
And it starts rolling out the door, and Here comes the fire department.
Yeah, right.
I'm gonna get a little closer. Get a little closer to the camera so you guys can see me without the fog's gonna roll out of this place. But
so Tater, with the vast majority, I mean, there are so many machines available to the hunters. How would somebody decide if budget was an issue? What is a machine that you would recommend?
If budget was an issue or wasn't an issue?
Wasn't. And the second part of the question will be if the budget isn't an issue. So the first part is if the budget is an issue, which machine would you use? The second part, if the budget wasn't an issue, what would you recommend?
That all just varies on what their budget would be. If they would call me and say, "Hey, I'm looking to spend $100 or $150 or $200, or hey, I'm looking to drop $650 on a really good chiller combo machine. What do you recommend?" I can recommend a machine for about every price range. Getting back to the chiller real quick, if you noticed, our chillers that we sell are made out of a thin-walled trash can, and that's what you want to do. And the internet will tell you that you use a cooler, but coolers insulate cold air as well as they do heat, and that fog machine heats up to 512 degrees. So you're going to blast 512 degrees through a cooler, which is going to insulate that heat and that cold air, and then you're going to have a null effect eventually.
So you're saying use like a trash can?
Yeah, if you want to, if you really want, you can use go to Lowe's, get a 35-gallon Rubbermaid trash can, some aluminum flex hosing from the dryer department or the dryer section, dryer tubes. Cut a 4-inch hole, tape it around, coil the tube up and back down. You're going to fill that trash can with ice. You're going to have a really cheap homemade chiller. Takes about an hour, 2 hours to do.
Now, would you say that you get a better effect using regular ice over dry ice?
All that's using in that I have right now is just regular standard household ice. You can use standard ice, and then you can get some rock salt and throw it in there too. It makes the ice colder or whatever. We got a car stopping here.
I'm making your sirens.
Tater, Ryan Gregor wants to know how many fog machines do you think you would need for a 60 by 60 yard space to make a good ground layer?
Hang on a minute, I can't.
He's got people showing up over there. It's probably his nosy neighbor going, "Hey, Tater, you got a fire over there or what?"
Well, I'm sorry, what was the question? That's my dad.
Hi, Dad.
Ryan Gregor wanted to know how many fog machines do you think you need to cover a 60-foot by 60-foot yard space to make good ground coverage?
60 by 60. Depends on how big the chiller is. You probably want to do the Chauvet 1600. Probably 2 or 3. Maybe, you know what, go 4. But like I said, I had to shut the garage door because of the wind. So if you're outdoors, you're going to have to barricade that section up somehow so the wind doesn't get down to it and cause it to come back up into the air.
Yeah, because again, that's going to be a factor in the machine, correct? Because I mean, if you're indoors, you're not going to you're going to have more control and have more fog versus if you're outdoors. So I mean, you're going to have some variables there.
Yeah, and that's the good thing about those adjustable machines is, if you start with 2, if it's not enough, you can always add a 3rd one. But I hate for anybody to overbuy and then get mad at us. I'd rather have them underbuy, and we always have a machine for them.
Right.
I mean, we're in Tennessee, and Generally, most of the country is 2 days. You Portland people are 4. Some people are 3, but generally, if you call us on Monday, we can have it out to you on site and by.
Josh wants to know about California.
Depending on where we're at in California.
Alameda. Which is, I think, that's like, isn't that like right outside of San Francisco?
California is a giant mystery.
Yeah.
Like, it's a state with a giant question mark on it to me. Generally about 4 days shipping.
So order it as soon as we get off, Josh. Order what you need. So we've talked a little bit about the machines and stuff. Let's talk about the fog, because Froggys really does have quite a bit of Josh saying credit cards ready.
Yeah. Josh, what's your zip code? And I can tell you exactly.
But do you want to get that credit card out now?
Right.
Anyways, Froggys has so many different fogs. Can you talk about the different fogs that Froggys has and how they would be used?
The different fluids.
Well, like you talked about, the different fluid. You talked about bog fog a little bit.
Bog fog is my favorite fluid. It's going to be a super thick white fluid. It's going to have a decent hang time, and we have you get to a point when you're making the fluids where you can either say, I want density or I want hang time. Backwood Bay is going to have a longer hang time than bog fog, but it's not going to be as thick. So we can start with the quick blast, which is a 30-second in and out of the air. If you ever see us at a show, that's what we're blasting off. That's what they allow us to do. They don't want something like bog fog, and then all of a sudden, the other vendor, you can't see the other vendors and get kicked out of a show.
And what is the like this one over here is the Backwood Bay. What is that?
For the record, I've never been kicked out of a show for blasting off.
Yeah.
Let's say, folks, that was please note he did say for the record. That doesn't mean it never happened.
Right. You have Backwood Bay back there, so that's going to be the longest hang time fluid we have. In a totally sealed room, probably about 2 hours, hour and a half, 2 hours.
Before it dissipates?
Before it starts to dissipate out of the air. And like I said, that's in a totally sealed room. Obviously, if you put it in your haunted house and you blast it off, there's wind, currents, there's doors, there's stuff like that. So the hang time's not going to be as good, but in a sealed room, that's going to be the best. That's going to be the longest hang time fluid. And
Josh asked, what is your best-selling fluid?
Our best-selling fluid is a toss-up between the Backwood Bay and the bog fog, honestly. Hang time or thickness, what do you want in your haunt? Do you want them to not be able to see your hand in front of your face, or do you want them to hang around and have that atmosphere?
But again, if somebody's not clear as to what they need for their haunt, they can contact you, right? And you can kind of help them walk through what would be the best for the effect they want.
Yes, absolutely. I'm always around on Facebook. I'm always an email away. I don't want to give my cell phone number out, but
I have it, folks. If you'd like it, give me a call.
There you go.
I do charge for that.
And we're going to charge you by the minute.
There's also haunts that want fog and want the atmosphere, but they have smoke alarms and stuff. So we have a fluid called the quick blast. In and out of the air in 30 seconds. We're not, and please, people, I am not guaranteeing that it's not going to set off your smoke alarm. Okay? I cannot do that.
We're laughing. We don't know if folks at home can see that Josh is giving messages. So if you can see that, that's what we're laughing at. If not, Josh just posted that Tater's phone number is 976-TATER.
So close. It's not even funny.
Well, it's and I want to touch on because Froggies, there I go with Foggies again. Froggies also has scents. Can you talk about the scents and how those were created?
We do have a multitude of scents and a multitude of different ways to get your scents around. So one of the biggest pet peeves for me as an actor is going and seeing all these people spend all this money, do all the dedication, put every stitch in their costume, spend a ton of money on makeup, unless they're buying I Love Makeup and then it's all cheap and good stuff. And then they come running at you in this nice, awesome-looking, gangly-looking zombie. Smells like fabric softener. And it definitely takes you out of the moment from what's going on, because then you're instantly going. So what we have for that to happen is we have spray scents. And this one is called Fresh Soil. It just I don't want to get it on me, but sprays. I got
a little goes a long way, though, right?
Right. One. I got it in my mouth, Chris. That is definitely dirt scented. The one squirt.
What does it taste like, Tater?
On the front of your costume, it's gonna be okay, people. From an owner standpoint, the worst thing you can do is go, oh, you're playing a zombie? Here you go. Because that $10 spray bottle of scent that you just bought, or $12 spray bottle of scent that you just bought, is going to be gone at the end of the night, and you're going to have the stinkiest actor that you've ever had in your life, because they're going to go nose blind to it, and they're going to keep trying to reapply every 5 minutes. Squirt, squirt,
and as
squirt.
Josh said, from experience, he says it'll be gone.
Right. The other thing that we can do for scents are we can put it in your fog. We do have a list of complete list of fog additive scents on the website, which is froggysfog.com. They are the water-based additives to go in your fog, and we also have these little things. These little things are made for about 250 square feet. Okay, these are actor-resistant, tamper-proof. You can't get at them unless you have the key. Okay, so what you do is they run on a D battery. D battery. You know what this is a scent cup. Put the scent cup in the machine. Put your D battery in. It spins the fan. Let's see, the fan is now spinning. The scent cup is now falling out. You close it. You put it in your room. It's going to scent up your room. Your actors can't get in it, so if you want to use a stinky scent like Slaughterhouse, Rotting Decay, or Stinky Cheese, they can't get in it unless they have the key. So just make sure that you screw it down.
Does that container only come in white?
It does only come in white. We checked into making a black one, but it was like 3 times the money for black plastic than white plastic, and we said, you know what? We don't want to charge the customers more than we have to. Everybody knows what spray paint is.
Yes.
Exactly.
Spray paint is good for a lot.
Because we're all about, I mean, this thing here sells for $25 and then $20 for the cup. So unless you want to pay $75 for that same thing and only be in black, you can buy a hell of a lot of spray paint.
That's very true.
So
that actually piece is a really good way to get the scent that you might want in a room without having to spray it or put it on an actor or anything else. And you said that will cover about how many square feet?
250 square feet, and the cup itself will last 45 to 60 days. So it is also designed with the owner involved in mind, where you set it in your room, put your D battery in it, and you walk away from the rest of the season. At the end of the season, you toss out that slaughterhouse cup. You put a holiday spice, a pumpkin spice, a cherry, vanilla, something like that. Bring it into your house, put it in your bathroom for the rest of the year.
So multi-use on that one, folks. We all need at least, I don't know, half a dozen of them.
Right.
And Tanner, what do they retail for?
What do they
Retail
sell for? The distributors, the machine itself is $25, and then the cups itself are $20.
And the cup will last how long, you said?
And that's show pricing. I don't know the website pricing right now, off the top of my head, but show pricing is around that price. So.
And the cups last for approximately how long again?
45 to 60 days.
Now, if you put something like that in a haunt and you don't want to use it the full 45 days, is there a way? I mean, is it self-sealed, or is there a way that you can put it away and then reuse it later?
Yeah, the cups have a little foil top on it. If you just get an iron, keep that foil and just kind of heat up and press it on, and you can seal it back up. Even with this foil seal on it, sometimes the scent does go out of it, but we have little 1-ounce bottles of oil refill that you just refresh your cup with.
Wow. So another question for you, and I don't know if this one will get you in hot water, but a lot of people want to know this. Why is Walmart Spirit or Guitar Center Fog different than Froggy's? And besides sales, why would a home hunter buy Froggys Fog?
Well, okay. We can go with how am I going to say this? Screw it. Literally, this gallon of fluid is made right out of Nashville, Tennessee. Got a little made in the USA sticker on it. It is the highest grade chemical, pharmaceutical grade chemical that we can buy. It is our water filtration system at the plant probably costs more than my house. It is nothing but the premium ingredients going into this fluid. Guitar Center, which is the black label, Walmart Spirit Fog, comes from China. God only knows what they're putting it in. And that's off the record, but do you trust things?
Yeah, because it's made overseas, they don't have to follow FDA guidelines, correct?
And when we have a fluid that's going to last longer, it's going to hang around longer, it's safer to breathe. We just got signed up for the Aquas Equity, so all the Hollywood companies, Walking Dead, and all the other TV shows that you're seeing using our fog. It's a thicker, wider, denser, longer hang time fluid. Granted, it does cost a little more, but you're paying to be safe.
Well, and as you all know, we have Joshua Overturf in here from Haunted Hornet, who has a professional haunt. Josh is, and again, we don't know if you guys can see what he's telling us, but Josh has said that he has tried all of the different fogs, and he has found that Froggy's is the best for his haunt. There's
a YouTube video somewhere. Just type in Spirit versus Froggy's, and it's a side-by-side comparison, not even done by us, showing you exactly the Spirit Fog and the Froggy's Fog and the differences between the two.
Wow. Now, Tater, we're going to go, well, it's not totally off topic, but as we've touched, is that Froggy's is used in a lot of different ways. I mean, whether it's a home hunter, a pro hunter, but that's not all. I know that Froggy's is used in a lot of big productions, whether it be movies, theater, or what have you. What is the most famous use of Froggy's Fog that you can tell us about?
Well, remember the TV show Sleepy Hollow?
Mm-hmm.
They used our fluid. There's a lot of companies out there that make a sign non-disclosure, but I will tell you, every major amusement park in the country, Six Flags, Knott's Berry Farm, or Cedar Fair, Busch Gardens, stuff like that, they use our same fluid. Fire departments use it as well for training purposes. Roller skating rinks, bowling alleys, family fun centers. It's just DJs, nightclubs, strip clubs. They all use Froggies. There is one market that we're breaking into, Chris, and it's getting kind of cold out here. It's going to get a little noisy, but we're breaking into the snow machine market. I don't know if you can hear me anymore.
Yes, we were going to touch on that next because I actually bought mine too. I have the Snow Pro 600 that I've not even gotten to play with yet.
Look at that. It just right on cue, Chris. It just comes right out.
I thought that was dandruff.
Well, let me turn it up a little.
Taylor, current singer wants to know how long does the bottle last in storage?
Oh, that's a good question. When you buy the fluid, like for me, I have a couple of gallons here. How long does it last? I mean, is it only that season? The shelf life of it? Exactly, Josh.
Unopened, it is 3 years. Opened, it is 1 year. And that's the safe number. So this gallon of Bog Fog's open now, so I got to use it by the end of the year, or by this time next year, or it's gonna go bad. I will tell you that Bog Fog is probably the only exception, and it does not have a shelf life. So,
oh wow.
1 year to 3 years.
And something people may not think of, especially for like maybe your home hunters who are open multiple times during the year, or even your pro hunts, you don't have to buy just a gallon. You can actually buy 55 gallons and other different sizes of this juice, correct, Tater?
We got from 1 gallon all the way up to 250 gallons. Josh buys 55-gallon drums at a time.
How many drums do you go through each season, Josh? We're waiting for him to tell us. He's slow at typing. Right there with that high-pitched munchkin voice he has.
Taylor,
about 3/4 of a drum. Wow.
Is there any circumstances other than drinking it that fog can random chemical reaction?
You cut out on us, Jim.
I'm assuming he's asking if fog is safe.
Other than drinking it, that can be days like chemical reaction.
Well, first of all, I hope nobody's drinking it, if that's what I'm hearing.
I heard something about drinking it. Yeah, I don't recommend doing that.
Let's talk about the safety of the juices.
Or chemical reaction.
A chemical reaction? No. We have MSDS sheets on everything that's going to tell you that everything that's in it safe-wise. So it shouldn't cause any sort of chemical reaction on skin or anything like that. If that's what you're asking.
But if they're not sure, they can check out those sheets to find out exactly what's in it to see if it's something they have an allergic reaction to.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
And that's a big piece, especially if you are somebody who has a lot of allergy problems.
I could, Josh, but I do not want to do that because I don't want other people to say, hey, Tater, you're talking shit about my fluid or something like that, and then me have to fight somebody at a trade show.
Oh, wait a minute. If that happens, I want to be there. I'll videotape.
I will tell you this. Our fluids are all clear. They go in the machine, clear. They come out of the machines, white. If I was another place and I dyed my fluids, let's say red, and I put the red fluid in my machine and it came out white, well, where'd the red go? That's all I would say.
I just lost my train of thought. See, you're just so good. I was just thinking of a good question too, and I totally forgot it. Tater, you're in trouble now.
I'm in big trouble now, probably.
Nah. Who would want to get you in trouble?
And I will tell you, you know, people, there's no such thing as colored fog. Okay, we probably won't ever see it in our lifetime. There's a multi-million-dollar contract from the government. So whatever you think you can put in your fog machine and it's going to come out that same color, it's just going to get lodged and blocked and clog up your machine and ruin your machine. So,
well, which leads me to a question. I remember what I was going to ask. With, if somebody has perhaps some of those other machines that Froggys doesn't sell, would you still suggest using Froggys Fog in those machines? Would it help maybe make the machines last a little longer?
I mean, it's going to be better than those. Yeah, it's going to be better for your machine. It's going to have better ingredients, and it's not going to be as rough on your machines. But if you think you can take yellow food coloring, lemon juice, and salt and add it to your fog juice, and it's going to make your fog yellow and have electric charge to it, I got news for you. You're going to kill somebody. And you probably don't want to do that. And welcome back, James.
You must have pissed him off. He left.
I know, right? He's over there. He's over there with a 55
It was all that talk of that red stuff or whatever coloring in the fog juice. You upset him.
Yeah.
So Tater, we're going to kind of wrap things up here because you've given us a lot of information. And really, if anybody has questions, we tell a lot of people just contact you or the company to ask your questions before you buy if you're not sure. Is there anything that you want to add that we've not touched on other than I still want to go back to that snow machine? Because Froggys is also has a bubble machine, so I want to go back and talk about those, but let's finish up with the fog.
I mean, if they have any questions, my email is Scott, SCOTT, @froggysfog.com. They'll probably put it down below in the comment section, I'm assuming, when they post this video or whatever. But Scott @froggysfog. My cell phone number you're not going to get.
976 Tater. Just kidding.
My office line is 877-376-4499, and I'm at extension 85 all day, every day, unless I'm at a show.
That's great information. Now let's go ahead and talk about that. We touched on the snow machine a little bit, so let's talk about that more, and also the bubble machine.
Yeah, I don't have any bubble machines here, but I do have a snow machine. What people need to think about is, the number one question is why do you guys sell snow machines if you're doing haunted houses? Well, you want a way to get people to things to touch people and then not your actors. Well, the snow dissipates if you haven't noticed. Oh, turn this up real quick here, Chris. So,
Josh has actually done a snow room.
Yeah.
It looks like you have a whole snow blizzard going on there.
Well, I turned up the flake size so you guys can see. There is, I caught some flakes on my hair and I caught it on my skin here.
I see that.
But it's going to dry as a powder. It's not going to stain any clothing, anything like that. On this machine that we have, that you have, Chris, is a totally adjustable flake size. Still there a little bit, but you can definitely see. But it dries as a powder, a little white powder. Wipes right off. So by the time they get out of the haunt, if it's, they can feel touching them, bugs or something like that. If you do a bug room and then show them all these bugs, and then the next thing you know is you're feeling these little things fall on your skin, people tend to freak out.
Especially if it's a really dark room.
And then you take them out of that next room, and there's no residue or anything left behind. People are going to wonder what actually was in there. Kind of plays it on their mind. The other thing is it's ashes. If a volcano erupts or you're doing a Silent Hill scene or something like that and you want ash fall from the sky, you can scent your snow fluid. If you're doing a Nightmare Before Christmas, if you're opening your haunt around Christmas time just for one last scare, snow machine. This snow machine costs $160. It's got an adjustable flake size on it. So you can turn down the flakes. So you can turn up the flakes if you want bigger flakes. The snow machines are becoming quickly used and recognized as one of the best scares in the haunt, just because of that adjustable flake and the fast dissipation rate on the flake itself.
So in essence, it's thinking outside the box of what somebody would normally think.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, definitely. I mean, it definitely just people just don't. I mean, they think of snow machine and they're like, well, that's Christmas, and I don't want anything. I don't want Christmas infringing on my Halloween, and I don't. It's like the Reese's peanut butter cup. I don't want my peanut butter in your chocolate, and I don't want your chocolate in my peanut butter, and then all of a sudden they get together and it's magic. Same thing with the snow.
Wow. And what about now? Before we go on to the bubble machine, talk about the fluid for the snow machine.
It takes its own special fluid. It's called snow fluid. We can sell it by the gallon, but snow fluid is not like fog fluid, where fog fluid you want to have the purest, cleanest water you can. Snow fluid is not like that. In fact, tap water, the more minerals and stuff in your water, the better the snow looks. So what we do is we sell it by the gallon, pre-mixed if you don't want to have any hassle, or we do a little 8-ounce bottle of concentrate that you go home and you mix with any water. You get a gallon of fluid. A gallon of fluid on the biggest flake size that machine does lasts you around an hour or so. So you definitely don't want to keep it cycling, or you're going to have to buy 55 gallons if you're running 55 hours.
And what about the bubble machine? I know you don't have one to demo, but let's talk about that.
It is absolutely no secret, Chris, that I can't stand bubbles. And I'm going to be fired by tomorrow, but no. Bubbles are great for weddings. They're great for carnivals. They're great if you have a nice grassy surface. If you put bubbles inside a haunt, you're thinking about putting soap inside of a haunt. So you're going to have a super, super, super thick, slick floor, and you're going to have some issues. Bubbles are just a soapy mess, whereas snow is not going to be as bad.
Now,
Josh?
your bubble machines do. I know Josh is saying he did a tooth fairy room. That had to be interesting with the bubble machine, and it was a chaotic mess. The bubbles that your machine, like I have a cheap I'm not going to disclose the store I bought it from, but it's a bubble machine that when the bubbles pop, it actually has fog in it. Are yours like that, or is it just a straight bubble?
Our bubble machines right now are just straight bubbles. I do not know anything about fog bubbles or anything at this time. I would go on the record of saying no comment right now, Chris.
Dang it.
It was a good try, though.
We tried, folks, but there is that bubble fog stuff, and that, unfortunately with those I'm not going to name the store, those machines, I've been lucky to get one season out of the machines, but the kids find it fun for something like that.
You take a 400-watt fog machine, place it behind your bubble machine, let the fog go into the bubble machine, the bubble machine makes bubbles, and you have fog bubbles.
There you go. There you go. Perfect. Now you get a do-it-yourself, exactly. You get a lot of interesting messages or phone calls, and you're at a lot of different conventions. Let's take the time to let you share about some of the information that you might want to get out to people, so that you don't have to. Well, hopefully they're watching our show, but hopefully you won't have to, like,
I just checked.
It's almost sometimes you need a recording to just keep answering some of these questions.
I just checked your viewer count is 0, so nobody's watching tonight. So,
oh, good. Good, we're good.
So as soon as the fire department shows up, though, thousands of people will come.
It's those hot firemen.
The big thing is the number one question I get, especially right around now, is, hey, what's the difference between a fog machine and a haze machine? Fog machine is going to do that giant blast of white, puffy smoke. Or haze, if you've ever been to a concert in your life, you see the light beams coming down, and you don't know exactly what's going on, or less enabling you to see those light beams, that's haze. Haze is a thinner particle. It's going to engulf the room, and it's going to let you see those light beams or those laser beams and stuff like that. So that's the main difference. Haze machines also a lot of times do not need to heat up like fog machines, and they can instantly pull off. I'm trying to find a picture of lasers for you real quick, Chris.
So like a vortex type thing, you know, a lot of us hunters have those vortex lights. Which would you suggest for use for that?
For vortex lights, those are definitely, I mean, anything lighting you're going to want to do.
Yes, Josh, we know fog.
No, vortex lighting, you're going to want to use haze. Anything with lighting, you're going to want to use haze.
Wow.
Any sort of lighting effect, whether it be the spinning tunnels or, you know, the swamp hallways, or you just want to see the light beams, you're going to want to use haze.
And that may be something that people didn't realize.
I couldn't find the picture, Chris. I sucked.
I'm not going to touch that one. So let's just go ahead and give you some time to recap, and we've talked about, I mean, we've covered quite a bit tonight. We've talked about some machines, whether it be a Chavez or the American DJ or some of the other machines that Froggy sells. We've talked about a lot of the different fogs and its uses, and of course the scents. I love the scents. You know, we've talked about the snow machine.
We did talk about the snow machine.
The fun snow machine. So there's so much information out there that if you're really just not sure what you need to get, I strongly suggest talking to Tater. And I mean, he's not going to misdirect you. I've known Tater for I think just over 3 years, and not once has Tater steered me in a direction that I didn't need to go to, or, you know, he didn't steer me to, as you know, he's a salesman, but he's not going to be that type that's going to say, oh no, you need this $1,000 machine, when in actuality you need a $200 machine. Tater's always been clear cut and just down to earth and tells you what you need. So don't be afraid to reach out to him and ask him, and I just blew up your whole email with that. And that's at Froggysfog.com, correct?
She's going to get it right by the end of the show. Or we're going to hire her.
No, I'm not. I keep calling it Froggys.
FROGGYSFOG.com. Scott at FROGGYSFOG.com.
Yes, that one. Now you also are going into a really busy season, because I know you've got at least one more convention this season, but then you're also going into totally working with your haunts that you do too, correct?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, so I do one more show, and then I have a week off, and then it starts with I go down to Pittsburgh for 100 Acre Manor, set up their new stuff that they're installing.
And Tater also has done some conventions where he teaches like character development and stuff like that, and that's going to be for another show that we'll bring Tater back in to visit. But again, if you have any questions, please contact Tater. Jim, do we have anything else going on Facebook or YouTube that they want to ask?
Chris, let's give them a discount. I mean, if they suffer through this show for an hour.
Check it out, folks. Tater is giving you a discount.
Let's give them a 10% off coupon. Let's give them Hangout 10. That's all one word, Hangout 10.
All lowercase?
Doesn't matter, lowercase, uppercase, doesn't matter. Hangout 10. No spaces.
So, folks, be sure to use that. Again, that's Hangout 10, no spaces. Now, mind you, it's getting close in that.
Hangout number 10. Hangout, the number 10.
Hangout and the number, numeral 10.
10.
HANGOUT 10. To get your 10% off. Now, be sure that you try to get that order in right away, because, you know, Halloween is just around the corner.
And
Tater, how long is that good for?
On that thing, if you're going to use my discount code, I'm going to come after you. No. Put me as a rep so I can make sure your order gets to you in a timely manner and doesn't get screwed up.
But Josh, know that if you put him as the rep, he might end up in the box to your haunt. I'm not guaranteed he won't.
Never know. I will be in California this year. However, it's going to be Central Cali, not Southern Cal.
Josh wouldn't be surprised. Tater, how long is that discount good for?
Ever.
Ever?
Forever.
Look at Tater is so giving 10% off of anything, and that's anything, correct? Whether it's a machine or fog or sense?
Sense and fluid only.
Great. So sense and fluid. Josh, you got that? Because I know you have your credit card ready to start ordering. So sense and fluid, 10% off, folks. Be sure you put your order in and get it in a timely manner.
250-gallon barrel of fog fluid.
Don't wait to the last minute, folks, because if you're going to need it for your haunt and you wait for the last minute, nobody's going to guarantee you're going to get it unless you want to pay that outrageous express delivery.
I will tell you right now, I will tell you that do not wait. If you need a new fog machine, do not wait until the last minute, because I am selling out of certain machines quickly. The geyser right now is on back order until September 15th. So if you need a machine and you know you need a machine, give me a ring, because
Josh is already giving you his order for two 1600s. So Tater, in closing, is there anything else you'd like to share with us?
Yeah, my stripper name is Anchovy.
You want to explain that one?
Nope. Just let that out.
Well, I'd like to thank everybody for joining us tonight. As you know, we had Jim Erickson. He's had some computer problems, but he's been here.
I've had technical difficulties all mine.
I thought it was just because it was you.
The new host.
Plus I was lacking on the drinking department tonight.
That's what it was. So, well, we've been blessed to have Jim with us tonight. We really appreciate Joshua Overturf from Haunted Hornet in Alameda, California, stopping in to be our guest host. Folks, if you're in that area, please go check out his haunt. And then, of course, everybody's favorite person, Tater.
You've got a ghost. There's a floating can going across my screen right now. Nobody.
Yeah, what is that? What is that? What is that?
Oh, I see it, Tater.
I don't know that I saw something.
It's a floating can. Hang on. See if I can get this. Ghost, come back here with that floating can. There it is. See, it's just floating right across the top of that screen.
Well, we thank each of you for taking time out of your busy schedule and joining us. On our link on Facebook, Haunted Addiction Show, we will have the link for you folks to come in live and chat with us. So we'll see you soon, and good night.